Okay, so when you think god of death, what comes to mind? Probably some scary, monstrous figure, right? Well, for the ancient Maya, that was Apuch. And yeah, he was definitely fearsome, but just calling him a monster, that completely misses the point. The real story is so much more complex and honestly, way more fascinating.
I mean, the ancient Maya texts, they did not pull any punches. Apuch is described as the embodiment of corruption, disease, and putrefaction. Yikes, that's a description that's literally designed to hit our deepest, most primal fears. And look, it's a terrifying image for sure, but trust me, it's only the first chapter of a really incredible story.
So let's dive in. To really get a handle on this guy, we have to meet the Lord of Death the way the Maya saw him. We need to figure out, what was at the root of all that dread he inspired. So here he is. Archaeologists actually have a nickname for him, God A. And make no mistake, Apuch was the undisputed ruler of death in the Maya world. But he wasn't just some simple Grim Reaper figure. No, he was the master of the entire process. Everything from the first hint of sickness all the way to that final return to the earth. And how he's shown in Maya art, it's consistently terrifying. I mean, he's basically a walking corpse. Sometimes he's just a skeleton, other times he's bloated and rotting, and if you look closely, you start to see all these symbols of the night, like jaguar pelts and owl feathers. He's almost always shown with his companions, too, owls and dogs, who were thought to be the ones guiding souls into the underworld. Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This is the crucial twist. Despite this absolutely horrifying image, the Maya didn't see him as evil. Not at all. They saw him as essential. And to understand why, we have to kind of step outside of our own modern Western ideas about what death is. So that brings us to the big question, right? Is a god of disease and decay automatically evil? For a lot of us, our gut reaction is probably, yeah, of course. But for the ancient Maya, it was a loud and clear no. And this really gets to the heart of it. It's a fundamental difference in perspective. In a lot of Western traditions, death can be seen as a final end, maybe even a punishment. But for the Maya, it was just a necessary transformation, one part of a huge, endless cycle. So Apuch wasn't some kind of devil figure. He was more like a cosmic regulator, just making sure the giant wheel of life, death, and rebirth kept on turning. His home turf was the underworld, a place called Sibalba. And that name literally translates to the place of fear. But hold on, this was in hell, not in the way we might think of it, no eternal damnation. It's better to think of it as a realm of trials, like a cosmic obstacle course where souls were tested and transformed before they could continue their journey. So yeah, Puch was way more than just the death guy. He wore a lot of different hats, you could say. He had this whole range of cosmic jobs that were, surprisingly, absolutely critical for existence itself. I mean, his influence was woven into the very fabric of their world. He actually helped regulate time through the sacred calendar. He was totally vital for farming because it's his mastery of decay that creates that rich, fertile soil. And here's a crazy paradox for you. This god of disease, he also held some of the secrets to healing. Wild, right? And at the end of the day, his job was to maintain cosmic balance by providing the destruction that's absolutely necessary for new things to be created. Just think about farming. It's the perfect example of this whole cycle. A harvest, when you cut down the crops, that's a kind of death. Then all that organic stuff enters Apuch's domain, decomposition. That decay makes the soil super rich, which in turn allows new life to grow. It's a perfect, tangible example of how death actually serves life. And you gotta love this. The Maya even had a nickname for him that gets right at this earthy role, Kizing, which you can basically translate as the stinky one. It's kind of funny, yeah, but it also shows this incredible acceptance of the, well, smelly reality of decay, seeing it as a sacred and totally essential process. So how did regular people live with a god this powerful? I mean, this isn't somebody you just fear from a distance. No, they actively engaged with him. They even negotiated with him through all kinds of rituals. And these interactions were really sophisticated. For example, at a royal funeral, they'd place jade beads in the mouth of the person who died, almost like a toll to get into the underworld. During planting season, they'd make offerings. And yes, even human sacrifice was sometimes seen as a direct offering to him, sending life force straight into his realm through cenotes. Those are those amazing natural sinkholes that they believed were actual portals to the underworld. But respecting him didn't mean they were reckless about it. The Maya were also super practical. They took real steps to protect their families. They'd burn copal incense to create a kind of purifying smoke barrier around their homes, and they'd even weave protective symbols right into their clothes to keep any unwanted influence from the Lord of Death at bay. Okay, so let's zoom out for a second. This whole Maya view of Puch, it's not some isolated weird idea. It actually plugs into this universal wisdom about life and death that you can find in cultures all across the globe. I mean, think about Hades from Greek mythology. A pretty grim guy, sure, but not evil. His job was to maintain order. Or look at Osiris in Egypt, a god who directly connected death to the rebirth of crops. And maybe the best parallel of all is the Hindu goddess Kali. She's this terrifying force of destruction, but she's also seen as a loving mother, because her destruction is what clears the path for new life to begin. So just how important was he really? Well, think about this number, 20. That's how many days in the sacred 260-day Maya calendar were believed to be under the direct influence of Puch. He wasn't some distant myth. He was a fundamental part of how they understood time itself. So when you boil it all down, this is the key takeaway. Puch wasn't really a monster you're supposed to fear. He was a cosmic principle you're meant to understand. He represents death as a teacher, as an agent of real change, and as a necessary partner in the whole eternal dance of existence. And that leaves us with one final thought, one last question. In our modern world, where we try so hard to deny or postpone death, what can we actually learn from an ancient god of decay? What kind of wisdom is there in accepting that endings aren't just inevitable, but that they are absolutely essential for any new beginning?